Ryan Servetus here, doing a podcast for the South Haven Business Hub Group, and we're starting our next series. It takes a community to raise an entrepreneur. Deb Howell's got a special guest, Michael Neese and Scott Whiteford today. We're going to talk about volunteerism and why they volunteer their time to help those young entrepreneurs get their dreams going. So let's get right into this one, shall we? Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. We are here with a new panel for a new session. I'm going to let Debbie discuss what this new one will be.
Thank you, Ryan, again for allowing us to have our podcast. This was entitled, It Takes a Community to Raise an Entrepreneur. And I'm Debbie Howe, the Executive Director of the South Haven Region Business Hub.
Sure, I'm Mike Neese, South Haven resident, and worked with Debbie on SCORE. And when Debbie started this little movement, it was clear that that's where I needed to be. Happy to be here, happy to share whatever expertise we can to grow some entrepreneurs, more entrepreneurs in our community.
And I'm Scott Whiteford. I also live here in South Haven full time with my wife and my 4 children, and I work at Whiteford Wealth Management during the day, and then I've got a couple small businesses in the area as well. And I am just extraordinarily passionate about everything being from the ground up. And that is small business in a nutshell. The smallest small business is the individual, and then when they get that corporate structure, that's when they're actually getting into the real fun stuff. So,
Great. Mike, what led you to get involved with a group like this one?
I think there's really 2 levels to it, Ryan, when I think about why I'm here. First of all, on the big picture, it's kind of how I was raised. I was raised in a family that encouraged service. Been on numerous boards, had opportunity to serve numerous campaigns. But one thing in my work that I found in all the years I've lived here is I rarely had the time available. I was on the road constantly. So in the last couple of years, I've consciously and decided to cut back a little bit on my consulting gigs that take me out of town. And it was my turn to give back. This was a natural fit. First of all, I've got about 40 years of entrepreneurship behind me, some good times, some bad times, but all things that I hope are valuable to pass along to other entrepreneurs. But more specifically, there are 2 guiding thoughts that brought me to it. First of all was our economic development plan for the city, which also has implications for the broader community. And Jim Hettinger, our consultant, did identify that we did have a gap. We had a gap that we didn't really have a body of people, much like SCORE does, to provide mentoring and guidance to help spur the entrepreneurial movement in town. When Debbie stepped up to the plate, I knew I really didn't have any choice but to join her. Debbie had encouraged me to get involved in SCORE, and I think that worked as well. So I'm here to help fill that part of the strategic plan, if you can. I'm also old, so it's about legacy. Like to leave this community better than what it was when I first moved here. And lastly, it's actually an act of gratitude. I had a ton of people help me when I struggled, and I'm a big believer in giving back.
Scott, how about yourself? What made you decide to get involved?
well, for me, it's a lot of what Mike said. Of course, he touched on a lot of great points. Personally, I also grew up in a family that really appreciated and pushed forward the service mantra. Because really, all of us are just so extraordinarily blessed. I mean, it takes a lot of hard work to get through the day-to-day operations as a small business owner. There's ups, there's downs, and it's just such a blessing to get through those hurdles and be able to share some of our experiences with other people that maybe are just getting involved. I always love to say that we're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So if we're able to save somebody that extraordinarily painful lesson, just even once, that is just a life-changing experience for some small business owners. Just like what Mike said, you wanna leave places better than what you found them. So For me, I'm extraordinarily invested, I guess is a good way to say it, because I've got my 4 small children. And I would love for them to have jobs in this area and just stay around and hang out with mom and dad a little bit. Of course, they get to spread their wings and whatnot, but it'd be nice if they wanted to come back and help out with these endeavors. The fact that, getting back to the ground up, the small business owner is really the backbone of this country and this world, in my opinion. They are the ones that are able to innovate. They're able to pivot. They're able to do all of these different things that a large bureaucratic organization just simply cannot do. So the small business owner is always on the cutting edge of innovation and trying to figure out how best to serve the community through a product or a service or both. So it's just really neat to be involved with this group here, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming around the corner.
Thanks again, Ryan, for having us. You know, I moved to South Haven probably about 7 years ago. I used to say just recently, but I can't say that anymore. I love South Haven. I am an entrepreneur myself. I started my first company in 1989. I would have loved to known people like these 2 gentlemen aside from me here when I started my company. I grew it to 400 employees, 25 million in sales, and had the opportunity to sell. Then I had the opportunity to travel the United States and look at entrepreneur hubs and look at basic practices of how businesses start and grow and what communities do to support them. And I helped 2 hubs start, one in Kalamazoo and one in Ann Arbor. So when I moved to South Haven, and I knew Jim Hettinger, and Jim Hettinger came and said, could you help do something here in South Haven? And of course, being the kind person I am, that was a nice way to say that, I said, of course. And Mike and a few other people jumped on board and were willing to help. So then COVID hit, and we had a couple steps back. But I think the true thing is when you enwrap yourself with a community of people who want to help their community, help entrepreneurs, it's strong. And this community wants to do that. So, and I want to help this community do that. It's important. And we need strong leadership to be able to do that. We need programs to be able to do that. We need to follow best practices to be able to do that. 98% of all the businesses in the United States, in fact, probably the world, are under 100 employees. And as a matter of fact, probably under 10 employees. But those are the companies that receive the least amount of services. And in fact, probably need the most amount of services. They don't have the resources to employ financial expertise or marketing expertise. So they need people who could come in and give those types of resources to them to help their organizations grow. Let's say if you're a company and you have 3 employees and given the right direction or the right amount of resources, you could grow from 3 employees to 6 employees. That impact on a community is huge. And those are the kind of things that the South Haven Region Business Hub wants to do. We're not looking to grow somebody from 3 to 100. We're helping those companies want to grow from 3 to 10, or 10 to 20, or 20 to 30. We want to give them that satisfaction to be able to create that generational wealth for those who haven't even thought about what they might be able to do or where they might be able to grow, and help them grow that through mentorship, through one-on-one mentorship, through programming, through financial support, opportunities through that. So we want, in my belief, it takes a community to raise an entrepreneur. One of us alone can't do that. 2 of us alone can't do that. But a whole community can do that.
All righty, so I just wanted to take a minute and talk about just to really piggyback with what Debbie was saying and the very firm, practical things that we're trying to do for this community. So the first one that we are just finishing our first growth series right now. Growth series is something along the lines of where we find that small corporation that's 3 people or 4 people or 5 people, whatever that might be, and figure out, okay, you guys have your foot in the door, let's figure out how to get you ramped up a little bit more. Because truly, the best way you can change a person's life is by giving them a good paying job. I mean, it's nice when you don't have to drive too far either. You get to keep it in this community. So, in the growth series, the participants are in effect on a one-on-one basis with a specified mentor. Naturally, the group is also involved simultaneously. But then, just coming up in about a month is going to be the pitch night. So these participants are able to go in front of a good-sized room filled with all the community members and stakeholders in this area, and talk about their business and talk about the direction they're going, and see if there might be somebody in the community that might have some extraordinarily valuable input into this business that they have, and just kind of thinking about it in an entirely different and unique way. So really the progression is helping them get stabilized, grow a little bit through the growth series, and then you have pitch night, which is coming up. So of course this is going to be the first one, so we're excited. Naturally, we don't know exactly what to expect ever, but it really looks like it's going to be a good and rewarding experience for every single person that's involved. So
We welcome the whole community to watch the pitch. It's December 7th here at Lake Michigan College in South Haven from 5:30 to 8:30. From 5:30 to 6:15 will be a networking opportunity. The pitch will start directly at 6:15 to 7:30, and we'll have the opportunity to meet with the 3 organizations from 7:30 to 8:30. See you then.